Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're gonna be talking about a Michael Bay movie. We're gonna be talking about Ambulance. Evan, you recommended that movie and you seem to enjoy it. So
I did, and I watched it after I got your messages where you were expressing that you were not a fan. And it's always one of those things where there's a risk when you go for shot in the dark because I hadn't seen this movie and I wanted to, but um I for me it hits the right note of Michael Bay because I do not like the Transformers movies other than like some of the first movie and maybe the third. I sure as shit don't like the fourth or fifth movie, and it's Michael Bay. It's when he goes like relatively small scale that I think he works all right. And it's funny to call this like small scale, but they keep the characters to a minimum and they keep the focus where I think it needs to be. So, what Michael Bay movies have you seen? I'm curious. Have you
I've seen
seen the
all
Bad
the
Boys movies?
Transformers ones, and that's it. I don't think I've seen anything other than his Transformers movies.
Huh. That I still haven't seen The Rock, which by the way, I did find those references kind of cringe. I mean, like
Yeah.
Bad Boys isn't too, but like when they directly reference The Rock, it's like, dude,
But yeah, they
I think that's
referenced
weird when
a
movies
lot
do that.
because there was just like a scene where they keep name dropping his movies. Like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would accuse Michael Bay of kind of jerking himself off in these movies. So I'm like, you know what? Considering the rest of this movie, it's a small thing, but um Bad Boys, I I don't necessarily love those movies, and I consider them guilty pleasures where they're insane and so high scale, and the plots don't make a lot of sense. But and it's like this, like the third act of Bad Boys 2 is insane. It's just like this chase where they're like crashing. They crash through like an entire village. There's this like giant hill that like has a whole building built. I don't even remember. It's like I'm not sure what the IRL location is, but like Michael Bay never ceases to just throw everything in front of the cars or like have everything explode. So
Yeah, yeah. I didn't like this movie at all. Uh,
anything to like cling to or
well, there
like
were a
I
few
oh
things. I thought Cam was a pretty good character. All in all, I thought she was pretty
I
alright.
I did too.
Yeah,
She reminded me a lot of one of the characters in the screenplay I'm writing, which is kind of funny. I was like felt low key a little inspired by that.
yeah.
But yeah,
And other than her, I thought the last 50 minutes of the movie were pretty
well,
okay.
so is that like right when the chase is starting to end, or
The last
I'm
50
trying to back
it's that like the it starts when they have to do the surgery on the cop. And
yeah.
that is
Well,
like
that was
when the
probably my
movie
favorite
was
part of the
like,
movie.
oh, okay, the movie's like there's some interesting stuff happening. I genuinely think the scene of them doing surgery on the cop is actually a good scene. I like that scene. I was like, okay, it's just well done. The
It was
tension and
actually
everything.
really clever. That was I was hoping there was more of that kind of material because he's just like, I'm not trained for this. I can't do fucking surgery, let alone in the back of an ambulance. So they get on the phone. And I love how all three of the doctors are just on board. They're like, all right, give me the situation. Like, let me see what's going on. And they try to talk her through it. So I will say that spleen, like when it
The sleeve
ruptures, like I,
explodes and then she just puts a hair
I
clamp. Like, sure, why not?
yeah, the spleen bleeds a lot because it filters blood. So it's not necessarily like a death sentence if it ruptures, from what I understand. But holy shit, the the fact that the cop like comes to twice, like there's no way that he would wake up when he was in VFib earlier. There's just no way. But
Oh, I mean, yeah, he
it did
just
give
wakes
us
up for dramatic effect of having
yeah. It's like
um
oh my god,
what's his name?
and he has to
Will
punch him
punch
in the
him in the
face.
face to make him pass out. Like that one is just like that's not even how it works, IRL. You could just knock someone out like that. But like nothing about that scene is like realistic. I was just like, you know what, that's a little fun. And to be fair,
Yeah,
other than that, other than 50 minutes of that scene, I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was amazing in this movie. Even though I
I did
didn't think
too.
any of his lines were funny, I think his acting was perfect for what they were looking for.
It's one of those things where I'm honestly not sure if it was just his performance that made me love it, or if it was like, or if it was genuinely funny to me. But one way or another, he leaned into it. It
Yeah,
reminded me a ton of Mysterio from the Spider-Man movie, the Marvel Spider-Man universe. Like he overacting and like shouting in damn near every scene, and like I just feel like he knew which movie he was in, and he doesn't
yeah,
usually cut loose like this, and I loved it.
yeah. I have fun with his performance. Yeah, I don't know. I guess my big complaint, I guess, now getting into story, is that the entire movie is about how these two guys, they're not bad people. They're just robbing a bank because they need the money. So, they're not gonna kill a cop, and then they kill a bunch of cops throughout the entire movie.
Well, that was something that frustrated one of my biggest frustrations in the very beginning is the heist basically like starts just right away. Will doesn't know the plan or anything. Like he's just like, yeah, okay,
Oh
they're
yeah,
we got guns, we're going in there. Like, what you have four guys to take down a bank with like $32 million in it. And I'm like, how are the four of you going to control the room? It's like it's a huge bank. And then I realized like you can't have a big crew because then all of them would need to die, which would like lengthen the runtime. It has to be the two of them in the ambulance, and
yeah,
it's very engineered at the beat. Something else that low key bothered me is the partner not going. You're allowed to do that if you want to have someone ride along with the ambulance. Like you can do that, and cops often do that. They'll often like get in the back of the ambulance, and he's like, "This is your partner." You're just like, "Yeah, the ambulance has got
yeah.
it." I'm
Just
like, "Go
go.
with it,"
Yeah,
but
just go.
but but if that happened, he wouldn't be involved in the chase, and he would have had a gun on them when they commandeer the ambulance. So it, you can see that they want to get the plot the way that they want it,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of like forcing the movie to happen. So
And even then, I thought that was so overly long because you say they get into it right away, but it's 40 minutes into the movie when they finally like
well,
start
yeah,
the chase in the ambulance. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you could have cut all
Skye.
this and just started the first 10 minutes.
Well, low key, what I want to do is I want to get like I want to get the types of shot from this movie and just like make all the drone shots like going
Oh
like
yeah.
like weaving around bridges and like going up
Oh, yeah.
buildings like
That's my
and then
second biggest complaint because the first one is it makes no sense that they're like, oh yeah, well, we need to save this cop. We're not gonna be cop killers, and then they kill a bunch of cops throughout the entire movie by making them cars crash and everything. It's stupid.
yeah,
But
there's so many crashes where I'm just like that, like the guy that
there's
goes off
genuine
like the dead end that
explosions.
just
There's so many. I know it's
yeah
Michael Bay, but I'm like I'm sorry, I can't believe it's the same as like in The Dark
well,
Knight when there's the fucking the truck that gets thrust
yeah
into
the
under the bridge. Like, oh
it's like
no,
don't
that
tell me that did not kill them. That
yeah,
absolutely killed
yeah, the
them.
driver's dead. But other than that, my other complaint, which is in terms of presentation, is probably the thing that kept me from enjoying the movie the most, other than the story. Because I can vibe with a stupid story if it's fun, if it's presented well. I love the Fast and Furious movies. Fast 9 is one of the funniest experiences I've ever had in my life. Is watching F9. But
Is
this
that
movie
that's
is so poorly shot, poorly directed, poorly edited. It gave me a headache, unironically. I cannot like no shot gives you time to breathe. I think the longest shot in this movie is like 1.2 seconds. It's insane. There's cuts all the time and none of the cuts match. There's so many continuity errors. So many continuity errors. And you can see like I fucking told you the fucking dog handler. You can clearly see the dog handler next to the dog in a car that was supposed to have no one in the back seat. It was just like they just kept him in the shot and they just didn't do another take to hide him or something. And there's so many things like that where it's just like this is so incompetent and I can barely tell what's going on, and the shaky cam and the fucking drone shots. It's like, dude, just chill out. You do not need to go this fast with your fucking presentation. You can chill out a little. It frustrated me
yeah.
to no end.
It is Michael Bay's bread and butter, like the type of when action goes down in his movies, it almost always looks like this. It's just his signature. So the editing is extremely hyperactive. I actually didn't think the shaky cam was that bad. It feels more like handheld. It doesn't feel like and you like literally can't see anything. But like to say this movie is not trying to stimulate you at every single corner, like the all of the fruit. I love when they just crash into fruit stands or like just the cop cars crashing into each other. They're like swerve and like it. It's so funny. Not to mention the straightaways and just getting all these parking lots for the chase. And the cops never lay out stop sticks like to or shoot the tires like that. That's what the cops will do. They get a helicopter on you and then they try to break your
Well,
tires and
to
just to
be
save
fair,
the car.
it's because they don't want the car to crash with the cop inside it, right? That's the point.
Well, you don't necessarily need to crash the car if you use stop sticks. It's not like you get a blowout that'll like I I guess. Well, I don't. Do they even say that? Do they say like we can't like slow it down or something like that, or we'll kill the cop? Like, I mean, not to mention every time that passes with someone's shot is bad. So I don't know. That was one of those things that reminded me of like Speed, where you just kind of have to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, the movie's kind of a stupid premise, but you just kind of have to roll with it. But Speed definitely has a better plot than this movie because they don't have any excuses for how the ambulance just keeps going and going and going forever.
They just keep saying we don't stop. Uh,
Yeah.
and also another thing, I really don't like Danny as a character, Jake Gyllenhaal. He is so inconsistent. I don't know if he actually cares or if he doesn't, if he's like a psychopath or if he actually feels for the people he's hurting and all this. He flip-flops every scene and I don't know. He's like cracking jokes and then he's like super serious. And then he's like, we're not cop killers, and then he just wants to murder Eiza González. Like, I don't know.
The when it comes down to the ending, it's like it's kind of insane that it gets to that point. Like that's literally what he does. He's like, "I'm gonna
I'm
shoot you.
gonna shoot you
Gonna
in
go
the
out
head on
there,
live
and I'm gonna
TV. Like,
shoot you on the
okay.
head on live TV." It's like, what the fuck? It's like, I, I don't think they really tried to paint him as a good guy. I think they just painted him as the wrong friend, like the old friend that like
Oh,
you were right to like try to start your own thing and try to like get married and
oh
go
yeah.
straight. But I I do. I think I remember my parents like hating this movie a while back, and I think one of the things they said was they just couldn't like the main characters.
Yeah.
They thought they were just complete scumbags. I'm like, I get that. I get like Danny just being someone you can't really root for, and I wasn't really for the most part. I was just
I mean, yeah,
having
the
fun with the
hero of the film
performance,
is
but
Cam, for sure. She's the character you're
yeah,
actually rooting for. And the movie makes a point
she's
of that. They have a fucking hero shot of her at the end with the fucking camera out of focus, and she walks into focus, and she's like super
she's got
cool.
her Falk like vest on the side of her arm, and is like checking up on the girl or whatever. It's
So
like,
funny. They make her a hero. It's
yeah,
to be fair, I think it's cool that they focus on like, an EMT as like, hey, these people are fucking cool and they deserve more recognition. I think that's like, a better outcome for this movie than to be like just pure propaganda or whatever. Which to be fair, this movie
yeah,
does fall a little way to propaganda, but at least it
yeah.
focuses more on Cam.
Like I said, that's a frustration I have. I wish that so much more of it was like the actual what do we do about the cop who shot? Because so much of this is just about the chase. I'm like,
Yeah.
the surgery was cool, but I was just like they give him blood and stuff like that. But like I wish that part of the movie had been more of the focus because so much of this movie is just
Yeah.
chase,
It's
car,
it's
and
so
like
weird because there's like so little action for a lot of it because like they're not shooting back at the cops. And the cops don't want
no,
to really
they're just
shoot at them because they don't want to crash the ambulance because the cop is back there. So a lot of it is just cars chasing after the ambulance with
yeah,
nothing happening.
just from a distance. It's like a parade almost. Just
Yeah,
like just drive like
it's
army
so
of cars.
funny.
And again, the way that the cars are done, it reminds me so much of like all the black SUVs and like Transformers and like the bad
Yeah.
guys. It's like the fourth movie when they're all and all of them crashing into each other, doing flips and going over like ramps. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And then
Oh
they
my
actually
gosh.
get some action in the third act, but that's when the movie completely goes off the rails because they're just like, yes, let's mass murder these cops. That's fun.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, I thought Daddy wasn't gonna kill anyone. What?
Well, that's actually a funny moment in that film. I You were saying that like they kill like his crew kills cops at the bank, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, surely that happened. But then, like the cartel car with the minigun or whatever that he calls in, they definitely are
And
trying
the
to frame that like
explosion.
a, oh no, like we've
Yeah.
crossed the line. Like what have we done? Like what terrorists have we unleashed? It's like, dude, you guys did not have heart of golds before you went to like
No.
a cartel enforcer
This
and
movie did not put in enough work for these characters to actually seem like just, robbers but not killers, like they did not care
yeah.
for most of the death that happened in the movie.
There's like one line where like Danny says like don't shoot at cops during the heist, but his men just keep shooting. And again, they shot their way out because their plan was so bad. They didn't have a good getaway. And their car is like too far away for them to just make it there relatively quickly in the ambulance. And they never like put in an effort to switch. So yeah. I don't
Remember
know.
also that scene where the Danny, where Will was like, oh yeah, back in like whatever Afghanistan, these guys would do a Texas switch on us. Texas switch is when blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, are you just explaining a Texas switch to the audience? It was so fucking funny. I was like, and then they
Yeah,
just
that was
do it
pretty
later in the movie.
blatant.
Ah.
And they use it later in the yeah, but the way that ambulance switch was so weird, them painting the ambulance, is like,
I
why
thought they
did
were
you
just going to
is the
like get into a different ambulance and then that's it.
yeah, because that was what I said right away. It's like, hey, we'll just switch. I'm like, well, they're all numbered. They got the number. It's a number 3 Falk ambulance, so it's like that's the point of them. They're supposed to be seen from helicopters. So,
Yeah.
but the one that the other guy gets caught in has the same number. So I'm like, maybe they just copied over the numbers. But I'm like, why
No,
not
no,
just
they
get a different
definitely all stole
ambulance? Like,
from like the ambulance like park or whatever parking
yeah,
garage.
yeah. Funny, even though they don't show that. Like, I guess it just happens off screen. They just stole a bunch of ambulances, but they it's weird that they like paint it green. It felt like an attempt to make it more like interesting looking for the
Yeah.
third act,
And it
and
was obviously just like
the
they're following all the ambulances, and the green one they're not gonna think to look because it doesn't look like an ambulance anymore. It makes a
yeah,
little
ish.
sense, but yeah.
Yeah. At the very least, if like they framed it like the helicopter was the key issue with that and why they tried to switch, which I guess it sort of was, but it's still a really weird escape plan. They could have gone simpler. They didn't need to paint one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie's stupid, and I think we just have different perspectives of like it is the stupid that vibes with you, and it doesn't vibe with me.
Yeah. It's a guilty pleasure for me, and for you, it's just like, no, this is some bullshit. I
Yeah.
get it. Like it is a very wild and implausible movie, but
Yeah.
I think from what I've seen from Michael Bay, this is what I'd heard. It's like it gets relatively good reviews, and I'd heard this was more of like what Michael Bay was doing in the late '90s, and I do feel that way, even though I haven't watched many of his movies, and
Yeah,
I don't know if what he's got
for
next,
anything, it
but I'm
is a
like,
smaller scale than the Transformers movies, and I appreciate it for that
I
because
mean,
those
I
movies
don't know
are
about
also
you.
fucking tiring.
I would say this is better than Transformers. Not that it's a high bar to set, but
I mean,
I
the
think
thing
it's more
is, I've
focused than
not
that.
seen any of his 5 Transformers films since The Last Night came out, so it's probably like 2017. I remember rewatching
Yeah.
the 4 movies just before
Oh
I went
God,
to theaters.
you watched them all to catch up?
Yeah, I
Had you
mean,
seen them
obviously,
before?
I'd seen them before. I was just rewatching them to like
Ah,
remember the story,
gee,
I guess.
Jesus, that's commitment to the lore of
Well, yeah, I was like
Transformers.
14. I had a ton of free time. I mean, it was during,
Oh, the
fucking summer vacation or whatever. So,
the good times
yeah.
before school when you could just watch movies
Yeah,
for
I was
all day.
yeah, I was at a friend's house in another city. We were just like, let's watch all of them. I think we fell asleep during 4. I don't remember if we finished it.
I despise
Yeah, Age of
4.
Extinction is really bad, but it's whatever.
Oh,
But
man.
anyway, I think the first Transformers is probably all right, but I don't remember enough of it because, like I said, I watched it last time when I was 14. That was 8 years ago,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
the first movie and some of the third are, like, probably my favorite from that, but it's just a franchise I just don't like that much. It just I don't think it really lends itself to Transformers as much as others. I mean, I need to see that new animated movie that they
Yeah,
made. I heard it
everyone
was
says
Gino.
Transformers 1 is really good. Really, really good.
Yeah,
Especially
but
friends of mine who are actually fans of Transformers. And
well, exactly, because Transformers movie fans are not like Transformers, like,
Transformers fans,
the
yeah.
original.
It's the same as the
Yeah, the original
Snyder
show or
fans.
the yeah, like they're not comic book fans. They're just fans of the director and like
Yeah.
what he does. It's yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's it. Do you recommend Ambulance 7?
I low key do because I'm just like, if this is one of those movies where I'm like, if this is on streaming and you got nothing to do, you just want like a movie to just have some fun with, like put some popcorn on. Like I think there's fun to be had, but like I totally get where you're coming from, and I can see this just being like, no, like absolutely not. And I'm like, at which point it's fine, but for me, I definitely got something out of it, and I would give it a soft recommendation.
Yeah, I would not recommend it personally. I think if you want to watch a stupid action movie, pick any of the Fast and Furious movies from Fast 5 to Fast X. Any of them, you're gonna have a great time. Much better time than fucking watch RRR. That was a film we watched. We
Yeah.
got drunk watching. That was fucking fun. We did a drinking game. Oh,
Oh
if you
my
can
god.
get a few friends, watch RRR doing a drinking game. That's peak. That's like one of the
Yeah,
best experiences.
I knew precious little about that movie, but I swear to God, the fight scene in the desert, there's a like if you've never heard of it, it is like one of the most insane things I've seen in a movie. Yeah, that movie went for it in the best way. It is like an example of like what this movie is almost going for, of just nonstop insanity, like with literal musicals thrown in there. But
Yeah, but RRR
oh,
is
it's
better
great.
shot and better edited.
Yeah, and a better movie about like two brothers, as it
Yeah.
were.
Remember when they introduced Beam? I mean, it's him fighting a fucking tiger. That was peak. Uh, the good
Uh,
times before I'd seen Ambulance.
before the dark times,
Before.
before the ambulance.
Uh,
My God.
but
Well then,
yeah.
you
Oh yeah, shit! It's
made
my turn to recommend something. I forgot because we were gonna record
yeah.
the Born Again episode right after this. I was like already thinking about that, but yeah, I need to recommend something. Um. Okay. Actually, I think I already picked what I want to recommend. All right. So it's a movie you haven't seen. I have, and I mean we could do a
Hmm.
double feature to be honest, because there is a sequel that I haven't seen, but I've heard it's also pretty good, and the third one's coming out soon. But it's Happy Death Day, the
Ah,
Groundhog
yeah.
Day horror movie. That
I've
I
been
really like the first one. I've heard the second one is not as good, but it's still pretty good, and the third one's coming out soon. So I mean we could do both of them. Happy Death Day.
they're making what I never did understand why sequel. Like I just
I mean,
I
it get made
I mean
money. That's
money.
exactly what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why. But I have heard that the first one is good. I've a lot of
yeah,
people have recommended it. I've just never gotten around to it. So yeah. All right.
yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. That Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. I think that's the name of the second one. Fairly short,
Double
thankfully,
feature then?
because yeah,
Yeah, yeah, or
it's the horror. So it's
plum.
like two 90-minute movies. So it's like 3 hours. It's 40 minutes longer than the movie we watched last night. So, and it will be more fun because I liked Happy Death. I'm harping
Sure, it'll
on
be
this
better
movie
paced.
so much. It's
I think
Michael
you've earned
Bay.
it. It was a shot in the dark, and yeah, it is fucking Michael Bay. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Yeah. But
all
I
right.
think that's it. We'll catch you all next week for Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, the horror movie starring that one girl from Utopia, who dies. Remember that she's in
Yeah,
the
who was
Utopia remake?
really interesting and cool, and she just dies
She was
right
the
away,
best
and they just don't
character.
do anything with it. Which is so funny because she wasn't even in the original
Yeah.
show. Not really.
She
So
was an
it's like,
original character, and then they just kill her off for shock value. Spoilers, I guess, for Utopia if you haven't seen our episode on it,
yeah,
but yeah.
the 2021, if ever like the horror of that being spoiled happened.
Oh yeah, I don't know. People might care. I mean, I don't know. Just watch the original Utopia and be sad with the rest of
Please.
us about it being canceled, as God intended. Uh, all right, we'll catch y'all next week, folks. Thanks for watching.
Catch you next week.